How how are we feeling, Alabama Nation, Bama fans? What's going on? What's going on? What's happening? What's happening? I'm your man Stephen Smith here, Touchdown Alabama Magazine, bringing you the show on a Monday. In my own words, from the home location on today, your Crimson Tide handling that business against Texas A&M, earning the 26-20 win on last week, taking control of the SEC West. Jalen Milroe did his thing. Jermaine Burton coming out, the number one wide receiver of this group. But how about the Alabama defense holding Jimbo Fisher, Bobby Petrino, and that A&M offense to just 3 points in the second half? So much positive things that took place. Still some things to clean up, still some things to get better in, but you're locked and loaded right now on the hottest show on the streets, number one ticket for your Alabama football news. In my own word, yours truly, Stephen Smith of TDA. We want you guys going crazy in the chat line tonight, taking all chat questions, all thoughts, all perspectives on today's show. Hit that like button right now. Smash the like button. Get those likes up. Hit that thumbs up on the show. Hit that subscribe button as well. Make this your spot here for all things Bama football. But daily super chat go. You know what time it is. $100 daily super chat go. We appreciate the support coming from all of you. And so far, let's get to some of these early chats here in the chat line to shout you guys out so far as you guys been busy. Don Parker saying roll tide to everybody. Roll tide to you as well, Don Parker. We appreciate you. Darius Robinson giving us an RTR. We appreciate you, Darius. We got Greg McKinney with the roll tide roll. Greg, we appreciate you. BT Trust drops in with roll tide. 3 elephant emojis and a football emoji. Appreciate you, BT Trust. D Pickett with that roll tide. Appreciate that, D Pickett. We got Dirty Merc 24 who writes in, today's holiday should be Will Reichert Day. We avoided a disaster and it actually looked like an upgrade. Shout out to James. Shout out to Jay Burnip too. So we shouting out Will Reichert and James Burnip right there. I just hit myself right there. Not trying to hit myself there in that comment there, but continuing here, we got Chief 18 Wheels with roll tie and salutes. They appreciate that. We got our own Waylon in the chat line. Good evening to everybody. Appreciate Waylon dropping in there. Naomi comes in here with roll tide. Everybody roll tide to you, Naomi, as well here. Let's see. Get some chats here. Jeffrey Beans writing in. Caleb Downs and the return of D-Law won this game. Sorry to burst y'all bubble. Roll tide for life. Caleb Downs stepped up. Big interception by him. Back-to-back weeks with the pick. Caleb Downs, he's showing you. Freshman doing big things. And having D-Law back made a huge difference right there. We'll get to a few more of you guys in the chat line. Jarvis S. writing in roll tide roll. Appreciate you, Jarvis, checking out the show here. We got Sully 4462 writing in. Good evening, everybody. And RTR, big roll tide to Sully. We got here Brenda Banks, roll tide. Stephen, Brenda, I appreciate you giving me that roll tide. I'm happy to be here on this show with you guys here. Let's get to a few more. Don Parker is encouraging everybody to hit that like button. Get them on, Don Parker. Get them on that business. Jarvis S. The SEC West runs through Tuscaloosa for real. It's running through T-Town. Jeffrey Beans, Jay Millie, and Jay Millie. Shouting out there. Jalen Milroe. Appreciate you guys here, on the show here, helping us out here, getting us started. We already got a super chat coming in here. We got Waylon with the $9.99 in the super chat. Appreciate that from Waylon. Getting us started right there. That $9.99 in the super chat for people. We're getting it right now. Topic number one of the conversation without further ado here. And topic number one, very simple, very easy. We've already got some people talking about it. Jalen Milroe, one of the biggest highlights here of the win against Texas A&M. Milroe proving to the national media, I can win with my arm. That was the biggest question coming to this matchup. If Milroe was put, or if Alabama was put in a situation where Jalen Milroe has to win the game with his arm, Alabama not able to run the football the way it would like to, and it had to come down to, can Jalen Milroe make the plays passing the football, distributing the ball, getting the ball out on time, on target, accurately? Could Alabama win a football game? He answered that in a hostile environment. He answered that against one of the best defenses in college football. He answered that at Kyle Field with a resounding yes. He did. Career highs and completions, completed 21 passes, career high passing yards, 321, tossed 3 touchdown passes. Jalen Milroe showed us on a national stage he can win. Excuse me. He can win a big football game with his arm from the pocket, delivering darts out there on the field. And he made a variety of deep ball passes, short to intermediate routes. We saw the connection between him and Jermaine Burton, the connection of him and Isaiah Bond, just big plays made on the field with his arm. And yes, he had a pick in the game. He had an interception. If he would have got rid of the ball a split second sooner, he would have hit Amari Niblack on a big-time route that could have either went for a huge chunk yardage play, more than likely a touchdown. But what I liked about that was he was able to flush the mistake quickly, don't dwell on that, get back out there, attack the Texas A&M defense, get after A&M secondary, and make plays out there. And not only did Milroe prove he could win with his arm, but I think this was also a moment where the duo of Milroe and Tommy Rees came together. Tommy Rees took a lot of deep shots, people. Tommy Rees went after that A&M secondary. He turned the corner as an offensive play caller. He dug into his bag just a bit, took some shots downfield, trusted the arm talent, the arm ability of Jalen Milroe, allowed that young man, hey, put it where it needs to be, put it where you want it at, make plays, throwing the football, use your arm, use the arm strength, the arm talent, the accuracy, the ability that you have to make plays, throwing the football up and down the field. And that's exactly what this young man did at Kyle Field. So that was impressive to me because, like I mentioned, all the national talking heads, all the main people in national media entered last week saying Bama's on high upset alert, huge upset alert, whether it was Chris Doering, whether it was Desmond Howard, whether it was Brian Jones of CBS Sports. So many national pundits had Bama on high upset alert, and they kept talking about A&M's defensive front. Look at A&M's defense. They get after the quarterback, one of the best in sacks, one of the best in tackles for loss. They don't let plays develop. You're playing at Kyle Field. You're playing at the 12th man. How hard that is, how difficult it is. It's not easy. And Jalen Milroe goes down there against one of the best defenses in college football, 21 for 33 passing, 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, get you, get you a 26-20 win in a tough, hostile environment on the road. So big ups to Jalen Milroe. Big ups to Jalen Milroe, showing you, proving to the national world, the national audience, he can get this done. Now, of course, people, I have to say this, kind of battling through, kind of battling through some tough, cold germs here. But even though battling through this, giving you guys big show today. Big show. So pushing myself through this. So continue to bear with me here as you guys have done to start the show off here. So definitely appreciate each and every last one of you guys. So I am taking the fluids, am hydrating, but I appreciate you guys for bearing with me. But Jalen Milroe showing us that he can win a massive marquee football game with his arm, delivering shots up and down the field. And Coach Saban talked about it, how huge it was for him to flush out that mistake, get back on the field, showcase the poise, showcase the leadership, showcase the confidence, and his ability to make plays throwing the football. So we did get an answer here to a big question. And the big question was, if there happens to be a moment later on in the season where Alabama's put in a situation where Milroe has to win a football game with his arm, with his accuracy, in a throwing aspect, we got an answer. Big yes there. Kudos to one Jalen Milroe for getting that done there. But we're gonna actually get to some more of your thoughts here, more of your comments here as we roll into this right here. Oh man, appreciate you guys, man. Oh man, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys, man, for cheering me up here. So Jarvis S is writing in. Tommy Reese did actually call a good game for he did. Tommy Reese called a good game. Let's give it up to him. For real, let's give it up to him. He called a good game, set Milroe up for success, took deep shots downfield, made plays. He grew as a coordinator. Now, of course, we want to see Alabama run the football more. We do. We did not see much of that or enough of that against A&M. But as far as the passing game, he had his best game. Tommy Reese even did something that Bill O'Brien didn't do in 2 years. Tommy Reese called slants. We haven't seen a slant in like 2 years. Like Bill O'Brien never even called a slant. At least with Tommy Reese, he had a few slants dialed up there. So Reese did call a good game, Jarvis, as absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see here. Shane Jones writes in, we need to win out, but it is going to be tough. I believe this team can do it, but there is still much needed improvement. We have to get the run game going. Shane, absolutely. This team has the ability, the potential to win out, but like you mentioned, Shane, you got to get the run game going. The run game has to be an important aspect. The run game has to be a priority. And then on top of that, you got to stop the penalties. That's what's killing Alabama, the penalties. And not just any penalties, penalties that kill drives. There were a lot of drives that were killed by penalties. Touchdowns were taken away because of penalties. So we got to stop the penalties. The penalties is the one thing that Alabama's got to put an end to, especially in moments where you're putting touchdowns on the board, but all those touchdowns are taken away because of penalties. Here we go. Bobby Sprinkle writes in, Stephen M. Smith, I knew Milroe put the ball through the air. I watched his high school highlights. I mean, Milroe did a great job passing the football. My thing is that what was the discussion was people were saying if there was a game where Milroe had to win it by throwing the ball, could he win it by throwing the football? And yes, he did. He won the game simply off of his arm and throwing the football here. Here we go, my man Bill from New York writing in. That last pass from Reese called was very dumb. That they could have downed the ball and ran out the clock. Am I wrong here, Stephen? Bill, who put in that $5 donation. Appreciate that, Bill. That $5 right there. Appreciate that, Bill. That was not the best plan from Tommy Reese there. And Jalen Milroe talked about it. Now, Milroe took the blame on himself. He took the onus on himself, which you kind of expect the quarterback to do that. Take the blame, put it on himself. But that was not the proper game call there by Tommy Reese. You need the ball. You run the clock out. You get out of there with the win. You don't sit there and try to throw the ball there on that play. But, Reese will learn from that. Jalen Milroe, once again, took the onus on himself for that play being called. But yeah, absolutely. That one definitely on Tommy Reese right there. Brian Watson writes in 9 pre-snap penalties in the first half, completely different O-line in the second half. Hopefully we build on that. Yes, you got to build off of that. You had 9, excuse me, you had 9 pre-snap penalties in the first half. That's awful. That's awful, including a string of pre-snap penalties on one drive. I think it was one drive where Bama had 3 false starts in a row. And I'm looking at my TV going, what in the world is going on? You had 3 false starts in a row. So Bama has got to get better in that area, not having pre-snap penalties and playing a complete football game out there on the field. We got Jay Day. We got Jay Day the GOAT with that $2 donation. All right. Jay Day the GOAT in here. $2 donation. He writes in, big men did big things on both sides. Now, offensive line got better in the second half. Defensive line did their thing the whole game. But offensive line did get better there in the second half there. We got Coach Hood writes in, Burton looked like the Burton that we all knew he could be. Jermaine Burton has stepped up. We got to give it to him. I know we've had jokes, and I myself too, we've had jokes about Jermaine Burton, but that man has stepped all the way up. Big game for him. His best game in the Alabama jersey, 9 catches, 197 yards, 2 touchdowns, made plays all game long. And with the exception of 2 drops and some mental mistakes here and there, he played his best game. He played his best game. And he's taking it personal. I mean, he's made a whole lot of growth. He knows he's got a chance to be a high draft pick or a solid draft pick. Jermaine Burton stepping up there in a big way. And he started to look like, in years past when Alabama had, excuse me, that number 1 concrete receiver. We know in years past when Bama had the Julio Jones, number 1 guy, the Amari Cooper, number 1 guy, and the Calvin Ridley, number 1 guy. Jermaine Burton starting to look like that. Jarvis S. Burton has some Jameson Williams in him, not from a speed perspective, Jarvis S. Maybe from the dog mentality perspective, there's some Jameson Williams in Jermaine Burton, but not from the speed perspective. From the speed perspective, no. Squidward World, no, there's no COVID here, Squidward World. No COVID here. Just a slight cold here. But, of course, I mean, pushing through it, as always, giving you guys an incredible show here to the best that I can here. Tammy Sprinkle writing in, Road Tide, Stephen M. Smith. I appreciate that, Tammy. Thank you for that. We go here. Brian Watson writes in, can we all take our hats off to Kevin, that being Kevin Steele? This is the same defense that was under Pete Golding, and they are straight deadly. Put 2 linemen from Texas A&M in their back was fantastic. We got to give Kevin Steele a lot of credit, Brian Watson. Here's the reason why. In the second half of games, look at what Kevin Steele's done in the second half of games. Since the South Florida game, look at what he's done here. He held Lane Kiffin to 3 points. He held Mississippi State to 7 points in the second half. He held Texas A&M to 3 points in the second half. I'm just saying, in the second half, Kevin Steele has made tremendous adjustments, and he's holding big offenses to next to nothing in the second half of football games. Big job by Kevin Steele, especially in the second half for those halftime adjustments. Absolutely. Let's continue here with some thoughts on the show. I saw one on Chris Braswell. Definitely want to get to that one. Chris Braswell's having a very good season. Let's see here. I think Dexter put that in as William Morris writes in. Braswell has unlimited potential. CB has come alive. Chris Braswell's come alive. We're talking about This dude had a pick six against Mississippi State. Should have had a touchdown against A&M last week off the blocked field goal. Now, I get it. We're going to say Dallas Turner had no reason blocking that guy. But was that really a blindside block, though? Like, did the official really have to throw the flag there? I mean, did he really have to throw? I mean, I know Chris Braswell was like 20 yards or so away from the play. But did the official really have to throw the flag there and take a touchdown? Like, really? Now, I do appreciate Deontay Lawson for checking Dallas Turner, showing that leadership. But did the official really have to throw the flag? I'm just saying. Just saying. But Chris Braswell is playing great ball there. He is playing great ball there. We got Mitch who writes in, the D-line is turning into a nasty O-line destroying beast. Hey, how about that D-line? The Alabama defensive line. And here's another group that we've challenged, right? You looked at Freddie Roach. When is this defensive line going to be nasty? When are they going to be mean? When are they going to be aggressive? And ever since the Ole Miss game, look at this D-line. Since the Ole Miss game, we're talking 6 sacks, 6.5 tackles for loss, several quarterback hurries. This defensive line's playing. And against A&M, Tim Keenan led the group. 8 tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss. He was everywhere. And then we look at guys like T.M. Smith, guys like Jamarian Latham, guys like Jaheim Otis, everybody getting involved. Several guys getting involved there on that defensive line. So that D-line really playing its best ball right now. As we look to Dexter Wright again, hats off to Lawson for playing hurt. D-Law was not 100%. He was only 80%. D-Law was 80%, but he went out there and that man played. Hats off to D-Law. D-Law was only 80%, but that man went out there and he played. Absolutely. Shouts out to Demetrius Maynard Sr. with that 19.99 the super chat. Shout out to Demetrius right there. We appreciate that. Also, Brian Watson dropped in $4.99. Brian, did not forget you. Appreciate Brian Watson and Demetrius helping us out right there. We got here. My man Bill from New York writes in, one more thing, Steven. Aboybe was great. He was even opening lanes for Turner. The man just played himself to a big NFL contract. Justin Aboybe, Bill had a phenomenal game. 1.5 sacks for him. 1.5 tackles for loss. Forced a safety. Justin Aboybe is playing himself into a nice NFL contract. He's playing himself into being, a day 2 pick. He won't be a day 1 pick, but Aboybe is playing himself into being a potential day 2 pick. I agree with that in terms of Justin Aboybe. He's playing himself into a day 2 pick here. Ephraim Davis writes in, running back Jace Mack was clutch with the double catch. McClellan did that now. And those are usually the plays that go against Alabama. Somebody else, another team, makes a double catch or a concentration catch like that, and they're the ones that get the break. Jace McClellan gets one, and Alabama gets the break. Huge concentration there from Jace McClellan. Here we go. My man Adam Lamparello writes in, Steven, Tim Keenan is looking good, and the defense is looking like the Bama defense. Oh, absolutely, Adam. Appreciate Adam with that $10 donation, dropping that in the super chats. Appreciate Adam for helping us out right there. Tim Keenan is looking good, looking phenomenal. The Birmingham product, and we knew when he cut the weight to go from 343 to 325-ish, we knew when Keenan cut the weight, he was going to be fine. And he's playing like a grown man right now on that defensive line. So Appreciate him. We got Brian Russell who writes in, Downs is that dude. Man, we're going to need him more than ever with more injured. Carrying up Downs is the real deal, people. Leading the team in tackles as a freshman, back-to-back weeks with a pick. And I mentioned on Friday, in my own words, when you look at Caleb Downs, who is he often compared to? Minka Fitzpatrick is who he's often compared to. You go back to Minka's freshman year against A&M, he had 2 pick sixes in that game. 2 pick sixes that catapulted him 2015. Here comes Caleb Downs in a big moment, big situation. Jalen Milroe just threw a pick. What does Caleb Downs do? Gives Alabama back the momentum with a critical pick of his own. And Saban talked about it. That pick from Caleb came at the biggest time of the game. Huge job by him. Shouts out to Don Parker with the $10 donation in the super chats. Don Parker, we appreciate you. He's saying, I'm still hoping that it all clicks and comes together for this team. A lot of work and far too early to be talking about the playoff or even SC championship. Steve, got to get the granny remedy and get under the quilts. Hey, so Don got the granny remedies, but I also appreciate my wife, Mia, for keeping me in check right here. So wife has got me covered here, but Don, definitely appreciate that, and definitely appreciate you guys checking out the show here on today. A Rat writes in, Caden Proctor hasn't given up a 1-versus-1 sack since Ole Miss. By the way, Caden's getting better. Caden Proctor's getting better. He's getting better. The one thing I see that he's gotten better on is Caden is able to kind of reset his anchor a bit better now, especially against speedy edge guys. He's able to kind of set and reset a bit more there when you talk about his anchor as an offensive lineman. And he's going to get better. We all know as freshmen, you go through growing pains. As young players, you go through growing pains. You go through tough moments. But I think Caleb, as he continues to grow, as he continues to progress, he's going to get better. He's going to be better. And as he takes that coaching, not just from Coach Saban and other guys on the team, he is definitely going to get better. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate Caden for I definitely gotta appreciate Caden for what he's been able to do here. Let's see here. Jarvis S writes in, I think we need to work on the run game more this week against the Hogs. Yes, I think the run game, Jarvis, you got to dive deeper into that in this homecoming matchup with Arkansas and give those backs more confidence. You give Jace McClellan a bit more confidence, Wardell Williams, Jam Miller, Justice Haynes. You got to see more so of him coming down the stretch here. And also probably some Richard Young as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see him as well kind of moving forward. But Bama definitely needs to work on this run game a bit more, especially this week coming up against Arkansas. Last one right here, we'll get a thought from Bama, from Ephraim Davis saying, Bama fatigue is real, fam. They hate Bama. They do. I mean, they do. They want to see Alabama go down, especially the main national talking heads, folks. They want to see Bama go down. And I don't understand why. Well, I do understand why, because they want to see somebody else on top. But Bama's going to continue to roll here. Last but not least, we'll get this one from Gary D, who writes in, I think Terrion Arnold was letting Smith know he figured out what Saban wanted, and that was to shut him down, and he did. Terrion playing big ball, y'all. Terrion Arnold ain't playing with him. Terrion Arnold ain't playing with them at all. And big ups to Miss Terry Saban, congratulating Terrion as he came off the field. Big ups to Miss Terry Saban, absolutely. Eric Beasley with that $10 donation. Let's go! EB, Eric Beasley, helping us out here on the show. Appreciate that right there. Don Parker writes in, any word on Keon Keeley's progress? Keeley's doing fine. Keeley's doing fine. Keeley's doing well. Haven't heard anything on an injury front with Keeley. Keeley's progressing. Keeley's progress. It's just Bama is so deep in the outside linebacker room that Keeley's time may be next year. I'm just saying, Bama is so deep in the outside linebacker room, Keeley's time may end up being next season. And that's okay. That's okay. His time may end up being next season, which that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. But appreciate you guys helping us out here on the show. How about Clark Hendricks with that $5 donation? Appreciate Clark Hendricks helping us out right here on the show. That $5 donation, we have to get back to slamming the door on teams. The offense was successful through the air against the subpar defense. Roll Tide. Clark, absolutely. Bama's got to get back to definitely shutting the door on teams there. Squidward's World with that $5 donation. Appreciate Squidward's World. I did not take any of your content, man. Maybe it was somebody else, but that was not me. I never took any of your content. Maybe it was somebody else that took it, and it was not maybe attributed back to you. My apologies for that, but I did not take your content. That was not me. Continuing, so as we continue here with the topics of the show, and you guys continue to write in there on the comment line there. So topic number 2 of the conversation is just, other marquee highlights that took place in Bama's win over Texas A&M. One of those marquee highlights, we talked about him, Jermaine Burton stepped his game up to where he knows he's trying to be a first-round pick receiver, or a high-round pick receiver for that matter. He knows he wants to have a career in the National Football League. He wants to move on to the next level. He wants to move on in the next phase of his career. And part of doing that is coming up big in the matchups where you're going to have NFL scouts watching you, docking you, evaluating you. And Jermaine Burton against Texas A&M showed up. 9 catches, 197 yards, a game high in both areas, had 2 touchdowns, made big catch after big catch after big catch, especially on third downs, several times in the game. So Jermaine Burton is starting to show he's the number 1 receiver. We saw this in years past with guys like Julio Jones showing us this, guys like Amari Cooper showing us this, guys like Calvin Ridley showing us this. And yes, here recently, Bama has had the group of receivers. When you talk 2017 with Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs III, Devontae Smith, and then Jalen Waddle joined the party. And then you had John Mechie and Jamison Williams. Bama has had the groups come in, the waves come in. But now, this season, it looks like it's back to having kind of that number 1 guy, if you will, in terms of Jermaine Burton. And then Isaiah Bond is saying, okay, I'll be the number 2. I'll be the complement. Isaiah Bond, 7 catches for 96 yards, including a 52-yard touchdown catch from Jalen Milroe. So Isaiah Bond is showing I'll be the complement to Jermaine Burton. So wide receiver room kind of starting to even more round itself in the form, but that was a major highlight there from the game. The number 3, marquee highlight from the Bama win, and it goes back to the defensive line, folks, is playing. I mean, since the victory over Ole Miss, I don't know what switch Freddie Roach has flipped, but he needs to keep that switch on for the rest of the year, because T.M. Keenan, Jaheim Otis, Justin Aboigbe, Damon Payne, Jamarian Latham, these guys are playing. Even when James Smith gets out there, these guys are playing. They're affecting the quarterback. They're pressing the pocket. They're stopping the run. They're making plays. And when the D-line is playing like this, this makes Dallas Turner more dangerous. Chris Braswell more dangerous. Deontay Lawson more dangerous. Tresman Marshall more dangerous. The secondary more dangerous. When the D-line is affecting the opposing team's offensive line, quarterback, running back, it makes the entire defense that much more scary and dominant to watch. So whatever Freddie Roach is doing, I don't know what switch he's flipped, but he needs to keep that switch on throughout the rest of the year. Because this defensive line, they've gotten the message, they've gotten the memo, they're playing possessed, they're playing with their hair on fire. This is what we wanted. This is what we as consumers of Tide football, this is what we wanted from the get-go. To see an Alabama defensive line play with an edge to it, play with a meanness to it, play with a nastiness to it, play with a purpose to it, play with I'm going to take everything from you to it. And now it's starting to look like that, starting to play like that, and that's what you want to see. Like I said, Tim Keenan had a sack in the game. Justin Aboigbe had 1.5 sacks. Jaheim Otis had half a sack. I think he combined with Jamarian Latham for that. Justin Aboigbe forcing a safety in the game. Just a lot of good things, a lot of positive things in this Alabama defensive line, and that was a marquee factor in the game. Another marquee factor, Will Reichert, people. I don't think there's a more valuable specialist in college football than Will Reichert. He is on a different form of elite level right now. 12 for 12 on field goals. Perfect on field goals. 18 for 18 on extra points. He made a 51-yarder this season. Folks, there was once a time when the field goal kicker would come up and we as people would be smoking, drinking, cussing, swearing, chanting, doing everything remotely we could do just for a ball to go through the uprights. I mean, that's what we had to resort to. Just anything possible for the ball to go through the uprights. Now, we don't have that. We don't have to do that anymore. Look at what Will Reichert's done. The moment he takes the field, we're like, we know that kick's going to be good. We know that ball is going to go through the goalpost. We know we're going to see a made field goal. That type of comfort coming from Reichert, to have him back for a 5th season, knowing good and well he could have went pro after last year, but to have him back for a 5th season, the joy in that. I mean, 12 for 12 on field goals this year. We had a 39-yarder against A&M. But what was dope by him, James Burnup, who's having a great season punting, awesome season punting, he gets hurt, pulled a muscle in his leg. He doesn't return for the rest of the game. So here comes Reichert out here to punt. 5 punts for Reichert for 165 yards. The guy averaged 41.2 yards a punt. Is there anything Reichert can't do? He dropped one of his punts inside the 20. Is there anything Will Reichert cannot do? He can kick. He can kick off. He can punt. He can sell hot dogs and beer. I mean, is there anything Will Reichert can't do? I mean, the guy just literally cashed his ticket to potentially be the first kicker taken in next year's draft. Can probably go 2nd, 3rd round. I mean, Reichert just put more money in his bag for the NFL draft. Strong performance by him, as he's one of the marquee highlights here from this win over A&M. And the last highlight, not a good one, but it's one that needs to be talked about. These penalties, they have to end. I don't know what's it going to take for these penalties to stop? But they got to end because this is what kills drives. This is what kills drives. This is what kills momentum. This is what kills excellence. This is what kills dominant play. Penalties. Bama had 14 penalties for a loss of 99 yards. Bama had 14 penalties for a loss of nearly an entire football field. Come on, Bama. 14 penalties. You can't have that. 9 of those were pre-snap false starts. Offensive line. You can't have that. You can't have that. And I get it. Milroe took the blame on himself, saying, I got to have my cadence better. I got to make sure the guys are on the same page. I got to make sure we have better communication. And I respect Milroe for doing. Don't get me wrong. I respect Milroe for taking ownership of it. I respect Milroe for taking onus of it. I respect Milroe for getting out in front of it. I do. But at the same time, you got a veteran offensive line. J.C. Latham's played a lot of ball. Tyler Booker's played a lot of ball. Seth McLaughlin's played a lot of ball. You cannot have this. This should not be happening. These pre-snap false starts, and they've been happening every game. Every game. This has got to end. Because as the games as we get deep into the season, the game's going to get tougher. They're going to get harder. They're going to have more meaning. And you can't have the penalties take away positive plays, especially touchdowns. That just kills you. When you get a touchdown and it has to be removed because of a penalty. When you get a touchdown and it has to be taken back because of a penalty. I mean, that just eats away at you. So for me, there's got to be a way the penalties are removed. And I know at the beginning of the year, preseason, there was the whole conversation with the players about the coaching staff having guys doing up downs for each penalty after practice. I don't know if the up downs are helping. I think there's got to be more in this. I don't think the up downs are helping. There has got to be more put in place to negate these pre-snap fouls here. There's got to be a stop to this. There's got to be an end to this because it's hurting drives. It's hurting success. It's hurting momentum. But those were just my highlights from it, from the A&M matchup. My other highlights from Jermaine Burton stepping up, Isaiah Bond as well too. The defensive line stepping up and playing with much more intensity since the Ole Miss game. Will Reichert showing you how valuable he is as arguably the most valuable specialist in college football. And at some point, these penalties have got to stop happening. But we're going to go back to the chat line to take more of your thoughts, your questions here coming into the show. Let's see here. Let's see these thoughts, these questions here coming in. We got here Bobby Sprinkle right near. I am smelling a hog roast coming in the Tuscaloosa. My man, a hog roast. A hog roast coming in Tuscaloosa. Bobby Sprinkle. Appreciate that. There we go. We got here. All right. So Jarvis S writes in, no other team in the country would have won at Texas A&M this past Saturday. Jarvis, I could see that. So it took Alabama to go down there. It took Alabama to go down there to get that win. Jarvis has also writes in 108,000 Rabbit fans is wild. Jalen really grew up this past Saturday. He did. Jalen Milroe grew up. He took another massive step forward and not just commanding the team, but also showing he can win with his arm here. Eric Owens writes in, with Moore being out, do we see Earl Little? He's the immediate backup. Earl Little is the immediate backup at that star position behind Malachi Moore. Now, Moore suffered a twisted ankle. He's day to day, so we'll see how he did in practice today. We'll see how he looks Tuesday and Wednesday. But knowing Malachi, he's a competitor. He's going to want to be out there. He's going to want to be out there. Now, if there is a game where you could rest him and there's no detriment, Eric, then this will be the game against Arkansas, where you could rest him and it wouldn't be a detriment to you. But Earl Little is the immediate backup behind Malachi. If Malachi does not go, Earl Little would be the guy that would back him up there. Let's see. We got my man Waylon who writes in, we need our punter back, Stephen. James Burnham, just a pulled muscle in his leg, according to Coach Saban. I think Burnham will be back this week. Burnham, just a pulled muscle in his leg. He'll do some stretching, some Pilates, that type of deal. He'll be okay. He'll be okay. I think Burnham will be back. He'll be okay. Mike Coleman writes in, the rumor this week will be Moore has 1 foot. That will probably be the rumor this week, Mike. After the rumor of Jalen Milroe hamstring, wherever that mess came from, there'll probably be a rumor Malachi has 1 foot. He won't play. Malachi got 1 foot out there. Malachi will be all right. He'll be fine. If he doesn't go, then you will look at Earl Little as the guy that will come in to replace him. But I think Malachi will be fine. James Burnham, pulled muscle in his leg. I think he'll be okay. I think he will go. He should go against Arkansas. We got Siobhan Pompey coming in. Stephen, doesn't the more number of points place us in the higher ranking slot? Siobhan, to me, I feel like because Alabama beat one of the best defenses in college football, I think that by itself should put us back in the top 10. I don't know why it doesn't, but I think Alabama just beating what people looked at as the one of the best defenses in college football, and you go down there and Jalen Milroe hangs 321 passing yards from the one of the best defenses in college football. That should put us in the top 10 by itself. But once again, I'm not the people who do the polls. So that's on them. People that do the polls that should put Alabama rightfully in the top 10. But that's neither here nor there. Gotta shout out Ty Alexander. Let's go! Ty Alexander with that $4.99 in the super chats. And Ty writes in, I was impressed how the defense adjust. Excuse me, when Moore got hurt. Defense did adjust. Did play well. Absolutely. Let's see here. Brian Russell writes in, Arkansas gonna get destroyed. Come on, dude. Don't be a casual. I mean, I'm gonna say this. You can't overlook Arkansas, but I'm just saying if there's a game where you could rest Malachi Moore for, this would be the game against Arkansas because Earl Little, I mean, you got to get him some burn somehow. I mean, you got to get Earl Little some burn somehow in some way, shape, or form. I mean, you got to get him out there to see what he can do with that star position. Absolutely. Let's see here. We got B. Jammin, who writes in, I'm trying to not even look at the rankings, just win with some discipline and ball play, B. Jammin, I agree with you. I mean, to me, as much as I would like to see Alabama in the top 10 right now, it's not important to me right now. Win, get better, progress, grow. That's my main thing. Win, get better, progress, grow. It's my main thing. Once you get in the top 10, that's fine, that's cool, but win, get better, progress, and grow. Absolutely. We got Trey Townsend who writes in, shout out to Keenan leading the team in tackles. It's been a long time since we saw a defensive lineman lead the team in tackles. Can we just talk about that for a minute? It's been a long time since we've seen a defensive lineman in a game lead the team in tackles. I think the last one was probably either Quentin Williams, Big Q, or Christian Barmore. That was probably the last one in a game to lead the team in tackles in a game here. So that's what I'm saying. Big job by Tim Keenan there to lead the team in tackles. Squidward World writes in, Caleb Downs leads the team in tackles, doesn't he? For the season, Caleb leads the team in tackles for the season, but Tim Keenan in this past game led the team in tackles. Tim Keenan in the past game. Let's see here. We got Brian Russell writing back in. Yes, you are right, Stephen. We control our own destiny one game at a time. That's what it is. One game at a time, control your own destiny. One game at a time. Right now, Alabama controls the SEC West. It's in the driver's seat to get to Atlanta to have a shot to play for a conference championship. So right now, Alabama, the goal, go 1-0 this week here against Arkansas. That's the main thing right there. That's the main thing. Go 1-0 against Arkansas. Let's see. Oliver Bacon writes in, what's your prediction for the Arkansas game? You were dead on about Burton, LOL. My prediction for the Arkansas. So my prediction for the Arkansas game, you got KJ Jefferson back there at quarterback for Arkansas. My prediction for Arkansas, I got 38-10. I got 38-10 for Arkansas. 38-10. I think Arkansas, they'll get a touchdown in the first half. They'll get a field goal in the second half. So 38-10. KJ Jefferson's a good quarterback, but I think Bama has seen KJ enough to where they know how to play KJ. They know how to handle KJ. So I would go 38-10, Oliver, in favor of Alabama. But that's just how I feel right now. I go 38-10. Let's see here. We got this one right here. It says here, how are you doing, Coach? Stephen M. Smith, we need to get the ball to Malik Benson. He reminds me of Julio Jones. He's strong. He can get open, and he needs the ball. Can we get some plays for him? I want to see Malik Benson involved as well. I want to see Malik Benson involved also. But I feel like the growth of Burton and Isaiah Bond, those two are who the team kind of really believes in right now. Jalen Hale has shown you something. Kobe Prentice has shown you a bit more. But I think the two at the forefront, I think Burton and Bond have shown, hey, y'all can believe in us. Y'all can trust us. You guys can lean and depend on us here at the wide receiver position. Still, I would like to see Malik Benson become more involved in this offense, more plays, more things scripted for him. And so hopefully moving forward, we can see that and we can get that for Malik Benson. CEO Watts chimes in, we pitching a second half shutout this week. I mean, let's do this. Pitching a second half shutout. Let's do this then, CEO. Let's see Bama get that done then. Let's see him get that done then. Mike Coleman, Jalen Hale, kids got hands that can high point the ball. He does. Jalen Hale's got hands, can high point the ball. We saw this against Ole Miss. Jalen Hale can do it. Excuse me. Jalen Hale can do it. He about that action. Jalen Hale is about that action. Let's see here. We got here Jarvis S did right there. You could see that the game is starting to slow down for Milroe. He made some good reads this Saturday. The game is starting to slow down. The game is starting to get easier here for Milroe. Bobby Sprinkle has 40-0 Bama over Arkansas. Prediction there, Bobby. We got Jason Hayward with that $5 donation. Let's go. Jason with that $5 right there. He says the defense is playing at an elite level. If the O-line gets right, we will win the Natty. I second that, Jason. If the O-line gets right, no pre-snap penalties. If the O-line gets right, plays to a dominant standard, this Alabama team will go to the national championship and take care of business. But it's got to stop these pre-snap penalties. We got Talking Sports with Red writes in, I would like to see more quarterback runs against Arkansas. I will try to get that Talking Sports with Red. I'll try to pass it on to Tommy Reese. More quarterback runs here with Jalen Milroe against Arkansas. I'll try to get that going. I will try to pass it on there to Tommy Reese. So appreciate that, Talking Sports with Red, getting that to me. But, folks, we're going to now go to our final topic here of conversation for the evening. And as we look at here, our final topic of conversation here for the evening, we got the Bama injury update. And I mentioned this before. Alabama had a couple of guys go down against A&M. One guy that went down had to be helped off of the field. There was Malachi Moore, got his ankle rolled up on there, the senior defensive back who's the starter as the nickel corner and the nickel as the star in that slot corner, that nickel package there. Malachi, according to Coach Saban, does have a twisted ankle. It's not like what Deontay Lawson had. So Malachi still listed as day-to-day. Coach Saban will see how he does this week in practice, how he progresses, how he goes about the business, how he goes about the work. But knowing Malachi and the competitor that he is and the gamer that he is and his desire to want to be out there on the field with his teammates, with his brothers, making plays out there, I think Malachi is going to push himself to go this week. I think he's going to push himself to go. Now, at the same time, if there was a moment where you can rest him and not have him go and have him more prepared for matchups against Tennessee and LSU and Auburn and Kentucky and games down the road, then this matchup against Arkansas will be the perfect one to rest Malachi. If Alabama chooses to rest more, you do have Earl Little, who is the immediate backup at that star spot behind Malachi. And we saw Little in spring practice do a lot of good things in spring ball. Did a lot of good stuff there in the spring, including an interception off Ty Simpson there in the spring game. So we'll see how Malachi looks throughout this week of practice. If he's not able to go, you got Earl Little fresh out of the frying pan. He's ready to go out there and do his thing. The next guy, you got James Barnup, punter. Mentioned this, pulled muscle in his leg. But to me, I think he goes against Arkansas. He'll do some stretching, some Pilates work, some bending type things. He'll be ready to go against Arkansas, in my opinion. Now, of course, Will Riker punts as well. You have Connor Talty, who punts also. So Bama's even got depth there in terms of specialists, but I think Barnup will go as well against Arkansas. Darian Dalcourt did not play much at all against A&M, according to Coach Saban. He's been dealing with a shoulder issue. That's why you saw big Jaden Roberts out there, and big Jaden did some good stuff out there. An offensive guard, the young man who came in the 2021 class by the way of Houston, Texas. Happy to see Jaden Roberts out there putting in that work. And Coach Saban was proud of the young man's performance as well. So if Dalcourt doesn't go against Arkansas, we could see Jaden Roberts back out there on the field again. But Dalcourt may be good to go there from the shoulder. Didn't seem to be anything too serious bothering him or lingering with him. But that's just the injury update there. When you look at Malachi Moore, James Barnup, and Darian Dalcourt. But folks, that is going to do it for yours truly. That's going to do it for me here on In My Own Words this evening. Hottest show in these streets, giving you your Bama football news, giving you all the entertainment, all the coverage, all the analysis, keeping you informed here on your favorite program. As always, Bama fans, you can check out all things Bama football by downloading the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. Now, you can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you got the Android phone. For your audio needs, check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, or iHeartRadio. We got you covered right there. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will return in studios in the Birmingham area on Wednesday. So I'll return Wednesday in studios. Got to show some love to you, the Alabama football fans, for all the chatting tonight, all the comments tonight, all the super chats tonight, even bearing with me fighting through some cold germs here, but I'm fine, pushing through it. Had to give you guys an incredible show, the best I could, and appreciate you guys for bearing with me where that is concerned. But till next time, folks, husbands, love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored and getting that schoolwork done there. Get yourself those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great labs a day. You protect yourself. You protect the loved ones around you. Till next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith. You've been listening to In My Own Words. Have a great night, everybody.